the homemade AVI too, man, on his account,
Exactly. He's able to put stuff together like it's
Did
nothing.
you draw that, Bandy?
I did not. It was I don't know where my mom went for it, but it's on the back of a shirt.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to bring him in one day for meeting day.
No idea, but we should definitely get a bunch of shirts made up like that. I think it'd be wonderful. Bring it back to the early 2000s when that became like a super popular thing. Either way,
A caricature, I think,
yes,
is what they call it.
Big head, small body, but it looks wonderful. It looks like us. I mean,
I had T-shirts like that with Jose Canseco on.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
We got a lot of stuff to hop into today, and I'm going to start with saying we did try and get an interesting guest for Wacky Wednesday. I think we're going to start doing that from now on. But the guest in question is actually George Somerville. And it's kind of tough to get him because if you guys have heard that name before, you know that he is from the UK. And when I was trying to set up something, trying to get him on the show live, he told me that might not work out. Because it's going to be 3 a.m. whenever you guys are doing your live show. So I was like, okay, we'll figure something out there, George. But I know that the Talking Ball crew also had an interesting guest, and thankfully enough, we have a Talking Ball host on the show to start it off. It's one Mr. Drew DeArmond.
Yeah, we had Coach Steve Spurrier, the old ball coach, and Bandy got to call him.
That's it.
And got to find out about the Florida Heat, and Coach Spurrier was in a good mood because I could tell because Bandy was cracking up.
Yeah.
Coach Spurrier is a very unique personality. He changed football forever when he came to the SEC, and what he did when his first head coaching job at Duke is still remarkable. And as he reminded us, I mean, it's the only ACC title since 1962 for Duke, and this is in football, fellas. This is not hoops. They won it all in football in 1989, and even started 1-3 to do it. They didn't do it the easy way. Won 7 straight, including an upsetting Clemson. And in his storied career, think about it. He said there's been 3 times they tore the goalpost down, and all of them were at Duke that year because that Duke team won the ACC. And that year enabled him to get the job at Florida. And when he came to Florida, as we all know, by 92, they went to divisions. They lost the first SEC championship game in a classic to Alabama, but then ripped off 4 in a row. He won it 7 times. He made that an event. As Shane Matthews said, he thinks the SEC championship game is still to this day more important than the college football playoff and really more at stake. Because think about it. Georgia had won 29 games in a row going into the game with Alabama last year. If Georgia wins that game to win 30 in a row, they very likely three-peat. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be tough to beat, especially with a little bit of time off, like several weeks for Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey to heal up because they weren't 100% against Alabama. But that's how much was at stake in the SEC championship game. Nick Saban won that. Then went on and lost the heartbreaker in the Rose Bowl. We know Michigan went on to beat Washington. And then, ironically, the Washington head coach becomes Alabama's new head coach. It's insane. Like, a friend of mine was watching a replay of that 34-13 win, Michigan over Washington. He said, man, you're not going to believe this. I just watched a play where Josh Cuevas was lit up on a pass route, wasn't able to come down with the ball by Keon Sabb, the safety for Michigan. And you know what's the ironic thing? Both those dudes are now at Alabama.
What a wonderful story.
Yeah, that's what that's the difference. Coach Spurrier even brought it up about being an old school coach and not wanting to be, having to deal with NIL and the transfer portal and working 7 days a week, because Coach Spurrier was the kind of guy like to enjoy the golf, like to get some time away. And it's just roster management is almost your biggest job now. And it's so crazy how coaching changes can dramatically alter something. And now these guys we've talked about on the show are free agents year to year. And I mean, wow. And so a lot of those guys we watch, or several of them in the national championship game, are now in Tuscaloosa because of Kalen DeBoer coming to town. And because Michigan, don't forget, Harbaugh went to the Los Angeles Chargers. He's now in the National Football League as well. So it's just crazy, the environment now. And it was a great 2 conversations, both with Shane Matthews, who I still say doesn't get enough credit for how good a player he was. This is a guy that was the 8th guys. I'm serious when I tell you this. When Steve Spurrier got to Florida, he had about 8 or 9 quarterbacks on scholarship. Shane Matthews was about 8 or 9. He was not the favorite to win the job. He had to continue to work his way up the depth chart. He was from Pascagoula, Mississippi. He played for his dad, Bill, a Hall of Fame coach in Pascagoula. And by the way, I know you guys were you guys had daily reports. You guys covered the XFL very closely, closest as anyone at our station. Well, anyway, in 2023, when the XFL came back, the Orlando Guardians, they were coached by Terrell Buckley. Where is that connection? Terrell Buckley was a high school teammate of Shane Matthews in Pascagoula, Mississippi, and Shane Matthews is on that coaching staff with the Orlando Guardians. So again, his dad Bill had a powerhouse program, a state championship. They won it all in '87, I believe, when Shane was playing. And Shane, he really did earn his way up to the top of the depth chart at Florida, became a 2-time All-American, a 2-time SEC Player of the Year. And then, even though he was undrafted because, quote unquote, didn't have the huge arm, wasn't physically imposing, wasn't 6'4", 6'5", guy played 14 years in the NFL. And I mean, you don't play that long unless you got it from the neck up. And he played a long time, including for Coach Spurrier in 2002 with the Washington Redskins. Danny Werfel was also on that team. But still, it's remarkable the career that Shane Matthews had. And just like Jeff Rutledge did the same thing, didn't start a lot of games, but played a long time as a backup in the NFL. And Shane Matthews certainly did. And now he's the color analyst with Sean Kelly for Florida Gator football. And we talked a little bit about Billy Napier, and he thinks the Gators are kind of that they got a chance to start 5-0. And we've already talked about Napier. John, you were with us in Dallas. I mean, it became obvious as the week went on that Billy was on the hottest seat. There were people openly saying the job might be open in the middle of the season. So Shane had some very interesting things to say about that opener against Miami. Said it was probably the biggest in Florida history.
Really? Yeah, that's going to be a huge opener, especially in that heat.
It's going to be in the swamp. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and you got to understand, they used to play each other regularly back in the 70s and some in the 80s, but they got away from playing one another. When Miami became good, they kind of rotated off the schedule. Coach Spurrier, when he first got there, as he told us today, funny story, kind of, wanted to play the Canes, but then as his athletic director came and told him, he's like, hey, Coach, I don't really – I think we've already played in the SEC. We already played Florida State at the end of the season. And as everybody knows, Florida State had it rolling under Bobby Bowden.
Yep.
I don't think we need to play the Canes, too, if we're trying to win a national championship because, again, this is no playoff, guys. They started a mini playoff with the SEC championship game, and as Coach Spurrier said, and he dominated that game in his tenure. He won 7 times. If you could win the SEC, you had a chance to win the national championship. But still, it was very difficult. And in a lot of ways, guys, that's why Coach Bowden did not choose. Florida State could have come to the SEC in '92, and they did. They chose not to. They went to the ACC because Coach Bowden felt like it would be easier to navigate and get to the national championship game, and they didn't have an ACC championship game for many years. So win the ACC, potentially be undefeated, play for a national title.
No.
Now, Coach Bowden, he never ran from anybody. And when you go back and look at his history, when his regular season schedule, brutality, because he did play Miami every year. He did play Florida. He'd go to Clemson. He'd play wherever you wanted to play. And this is before he joined the ACC. No. But again, they always played people. If you remember in that 93 season, they lost to Notre Dame. But then they came back and were able to win the national championship because the Irish beautifully choked against Tom Coughlin. Remember that name. Tom Coughlin and the Boston College Eagles upset Notre Dame the next week. And then that gave I guess the mulligan, so to speak, to Florida State, who went on to win that national championship in 1993. And then Coach Bowden won another one in 99. So, but Coach Spurrier and Coach Bowden, as much success as they had to show you, without having to play off how difficult it was, because again, you didn't always have 1 and 2 playing each other in bowl games. No. There's a lot of politics involved. They won a combined 3 national championships, which they were both Hall of Fame coaches that definitely redefined their universities. And Spurrier did it 3 times. He redefined football at Duke, he redefined it at Florida, and then he redefined it at South Carolina. Because I know he didn't finish well at South Carolina, but don't ever forget he won 11 games 3 straight years at South Carolina, which has never been done and may never be done again. So Coach Spurrier, remarkable career.
Great stuff. Hearing the reaction from Drew DeArmond in their conversation they had over on the Talking Ball show earlier today. it's definitely a very, famous history to really hear about, and you love hearing about it. I know Bandy was cracking up getting to talk with him, but now we are, in the now. And we look at this Florida schedule. And again, it's to the point where this team is not dodging any tough competition. And I think it's because they're to the point where, if they're not, the chances of them making to the national championship are, far and possibly not even realistic. But this is an organization that is finding newer lows. And I think it's to the point where they need to challenge themselves to try and get back to that competitive stature. So let's just kind of talk about this schedule real quick and where this Florida Gators team of the 2024s may be able to lie within the SEC.
Well, I mean, again, I've said that I think their ceiling is probably 8 wins, but they're going to have to start 4-1 or even 5-0 to start the season. And that game with Miami is going to mean so much because the Canes are getting some preseason love in the ACC, and they're ranked in the top 25. And I think that's only because they're in the ACC.
Yeah.
If they were in the SEC, they'd be middle of the pack, and I'm not sure they'd even be ranked. But as Shane Matthews pointed out, they've got, I think, an underrated offense. It has a chance to. If Elijah Badger can do a great job and help offset the loss of Ricky Pearsall, who ended up being a first-round draft pick, and they both ironically came from Arizona State. If he can be that kind of receiver that Pearsall was, that was steady as she goes, made big plays. I think they've got an underrated receiver room. Some guys that were there last year that are going to be sophomores that I think are going to be much better players. And then the one thing I took from Shane Matthews, we've talked about what a huge loss we thought it was for Trevor Etienne to go to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
But as Shane pointed out, he wasn't the starter. We all know that Montrell Johnson was, and he said Montrell is good at everything: blitz pickup, catching the ball, running it. At times, Etienne was not as good without the ball in his hands. He was great with the ball in his hands, but the other stuff, which, at running back that you're supposed to be able to do without the ball, he was better than. And he thinks the young backs that they brought in, especially in recruiting, are going to really help Florida this year. He doesn't think they're going to miss a beat at running back. And then, if their offensive line is better, and that's going to be the key for this Florida team is going to be the offensive and defensive lines, because as Shane pointed out, when Billy got there, because of Darth Vader, a.k.a. Dan Mullen, not recruiting anybody, this Gator roster was not in good shape. It was very, very weak. They had to hit the portal heavy. They've had to attack recruiting. And then last year, he made a great point in the fact that they lost 2 really close games that they needed to have pulled out, especially the one at home in the Swamp against Arkansas, which you can't let that game get away from you. And then they allowed Missouri to hit a 4th and 16. They almost beat Mizzou. Remember, Mizzou won 10 games.
Yeah.
So if you win those 2 games instead of 5-7, if you're 7-5, then you win a bowl game, you're 8-5. It's just like I've said about Harsin at Auburn. In his first year, if he beats Alabama and they don't blow the game in the overtimes, and then they win their bowl game, hell, he beat Saban. They won a bowl game. Everybody's going nuts talking about, well, the guy from Boise's already beat Saban. He's our savior. Instead, they blow those 2. And then we all know what happened in the offseason. There was a lot of vitriol. There was a lot of back and forth between both sides that Harsin rightfully took personally. And it really sort of wrecked that program where he couldn't recruit, and he didn't really understand how to at Auburn.
Yeah.
And, he would have got a lot more support, though, if you beat Alabama. If you beat Alabama in that first year and then you win the bowl game, a lot of people are going to be helping you. A lot of people are going to be excited. But instead that you fall flat and you're already not one of them, and you're already kind of feeling your way. And again, it's just one of those things. It's all about timing.
Yeah.
And Coach Spurrier brought it up too. If Duke doesn't win the ACC in '89, maybe he doesn't get the Florida job. He was the favorite son. He was a former Heisman Trophy winner, but he won the ACC at Duke.
Yeah.
Something nobody had done. It's so interesting. What if Rich Rodriguez, who we talked about this morning on Talking Ball at Jacksonville State, what the expectations for them are, and I would think winning Conference USA, trying to win a bowl game. What if he doesn't turn down the Alabama job?
Yeah.
I don't even want to think about it. But Nick Saban might not have been coming to town, man. He might have gone somewhere else, and then history is rewritten. So timing is everything sometimes.
And so you could take it back even further. It's like, what if Saban never left for the pros and stayed at LSU?
That's why LSU media and fans are so bitter, because they know what could have been.
Yep.
And that's why PTSD is a thing.
Well, I also think about whenever he was on the coaching staff for the Cleveland Browns. So that was 1994. Let's just take it back a little bit. All right. There's a lot of different paths that Nick Saban could have taken.
That's one thing I've learned too. Just everything leads back to the Browns in some way.
That's how it is.
Everything leads back to Cleveland.
I like the comparison Drew threw at this Florida Gators team. Of course, Auburn also in a situation where they have a quarterback from out of conference that is trying to make his way into the SEC and succeed.
Both Auburn and Florida have very advantageous schedules at the front end.
Yeah.
They just need to. The thing with Florida, though, they're playing a ranked team, but in the swamp. Don't forget 2 years ago in Billy Napier's first game as Florida coach, they upset Utah in the swamp, and Utah had a really good team under Kyle Whittingham. They need a similar result to get, because then those next 4 games are all winnable games, even A&M at home. But they need to beat Miami, because if they don't, it's kind of like Harsin not beating Alabama in that Iron Bowl. Things get poisoned. People get negative. Same old Gators. They're not winning. Like Shane Matthews said, the way to quiet everyone, you got to win games.
Exactly.
It looks like he's doing things the right way, but you're ultimately judged on wins and losses.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Thankfully enough, that Miami game's right off the bat. So if they do, in fact, lose that game, he's going to be hearing about it all season long, something that Auburn and Alabama games, don't have to really look at. Either way, good stuff from Drew DeArmond. We got to hop into a break. When we come back, Bandy, I'm going to need you to kind of open up the second segment a little bit, because I have a lot of fun things to hop into for this special Wacky Wednesday here on the Morning Blitz.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Carrabba's Italian Grill is the best place to enjoy authentic Italian cuisine, passed down from our founders' family recipes. Featuring a wood-burning grill, you can enjoy Carrabba's signature dishes, including chicken brine, wood-fire grilled steak and chops, and classic Italian pasta dishes. Have a special event? Elevate your catering with Carrabba's Catering, the perfect way to enjoy large party portions of your favorite hand-prepared dishes for any event. Carrabba's Italian Grill at Parkway Place, Huntsville.
Our customers trust us not only to find the right hardware, but to advise them on the technology that makes them more efficient.
My Next Level team researches and discovers real solutions. Check-in software, HR, digital signature, and workflow software. It saves you money immediately. We hold your hand and stay with you through the transition.
We're taking our customers to the next level in business process automation. From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Going to be hot once again across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 90s. It'll feel like it's anywhere between 100 to 104 degrees. We only drop into the low and mid 70s as we head into the overnight. Early Thursday morning, hot again. Thursday afternoon under a mostly sunny sky. Temperatures climb into the mid and upper 90s. And again, only dropping into the mid 70s as we head into the overnight. Maybe a little more cloud cover for your Friday. Maybe a rogue isolated shower across the Tennessee Valley. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hey, there's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hello, welcome back into a morning Blitz. John Abraham, Cam Cool, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey, and Larry. Hey, just had a wonderful conversation with Drew DeArmond from Talking Ball, presented by McCurry Motors and Alumni Hall. If you guys missed out on the Talking Ball show, you are able to rewatch it or listen to it over on our SoundCloud and our YouTube page, WZZN TV. You can also find those links over on our Twitter at 97.7 ESPN. Now, let's hop into a little bit of the wackiness. Since it is a beautiful Wacky Wednesday in the no man's land, I wanted to throw a little bit more of that strange conversation relating to sports. So I did want to hop into, maybe a new guest Wednesday, get a brand new guest on and we get to talk to them. And then we see if they get to be regulars on the show. And I think it was going to start out amazing because I was going to get George Somerville on from the Touchdown NFL and College Chaps. But, he's from the UK, and he lives in the UK. And when I was talking to him at SEC Media Days, I totally forgot that he'd probably have to go home. So whenever I texted him to see if he'd want to hop on, 3 a.m. would be the time that he would be awake to be on the show. So maybe we'll do something a little different. We are, in fact, going to try and get him in it. Not today, possibly tomorrow, maybe the day after that. But we will be getting him on because he's a wonderful man to talk to. Yep. As we really bonded over the intricacies of Globe Life Stadium, the Texas Rangers' new facility that the whole roof shifts over to the side. I was just explaining it yeah, it happens. I don't know how it happens. It's a humongous roof. But either way, instead of talking with him, I wanted to talk a little bit about this new baseball game we're going to get to see. MLB is headed to Bristol, baby. And no, it's not an expansion team in Tennessee. I know many people were looking forward to that. They wouldn't choose Bristol if that was an option anyway. But they will be playing baseball in 2025 in Bristol Motor Speedway. Now, why is this awesome? Because it's going to be the Braves against the Cincinnati Reds. And you know what I like? I like to see the Braves. I like to see interesting facilities holding interesting sports. So this is going to be a very interesting game we get to look forward to in 2025, on top of possibly another NASCAR race inside of a baseball facility, which is, supposed to be the Los Angeles Dodgers stadium. So that'll be a lot of fun to look forward to as well. And why do I say another? Oh, it's happened in the past, Bandy, and we will get to it. Okay. But let's get into a little bit of this list I created this morning. Top 5 most interesting sporting venues that we've ever seen.
There is one I'm hoping is on this list, and I hope you bring up. And if you don't, I will be 100% bringing it up for you.
I'll probably bring it up, but it's okay.
I hope so.
We also have honorable mentions at the end of the list. So if I do miss out on a few, then you'll be able to get some of yours in, as well as the listeners. 256-5764 is the number to call. And you guys can tell us the most interesting sporting venue that you have watched or witnessed in your lifetime. I definitely want to hear from you guys because you go way back. Some of you don't, but some of you go way back. And I definitely love to hear from you guys. But we're going to start out with number 5 with the battle in Bristol in 2016 when Tennessee faced off against Virginia Tech in, Bristol Motor Speedway. At this point, Butch Jones was still driving the orange and white ship into the ground, but hype was still surrounding Tennessee following the near upset from App State the week prior in the opener. But despite a hard watch for the first game of the season, they get to face off against a mid-tier ACC team that really never compares to a mid-tier SEC squad. So Tennessee went on to win this game 45-24 after being down 14-0 and then putting up 20-plus points in the second quarter. The attendance, Bandy, this is the intriguing part because it was the highest attendance in a regular season game in all of college football history. jeez, I gotta get ready for this number. 156,000 people were sitting inside of Bristol Motor Speedway, and that, it's a norm in the NASCAR scene. 15 years ago, maybe not this nowadays, but still, 156,000 people. Remember that number, because we're going to be getting into a little bit of the baseball facts later on in this segment. Despite the Tennessee team starting off pretty bad with that Appalachian loss, or that Appalachian close loss, and then, a decent game against Virginia Tech, they went on to play Ohio, not Ohio State, Ohio, almost lost that game, but then they also beat Georgia and Florida in that stretch as well. So it kind of re-upped everything and gave Butch Jones a little bit of leeway moving forward. Now we're moving on to number 4. Okay. But remember that 156,000 people. Since we're talking about baseball heading to strange places, this isn't the first time we'll see it being played in a stadium with a huge capacity of seats. See, I told you to remember, Bandy. As of 2024, the 2008 preseason game between the Red Sox and the Los Angeles Dodgers was held the highest capacity of fans. It was around 115,000 people packing into the LA Coliseum to watch one of the oddest major league games of modern history. Now, why do I say modern history? Because from 1958 to 1961, the Dodgers actually called this place home. I mean, this is going back to Tom being born. He didn't even get to really see these games go down. Even hosting a few World Series games as well. Who won? Who cares? It was an exhibition game held a few days prior to the opening day. But fun fact, NASCAR also held an event at the Coliseum. And it was for the Bud Light Clash at the Coliseum, where Denny Hamlin won on a 0.25 mile track. It's a quarter-mile track. It's also 1,320 feet long, making it the shortest track in NASCAR history. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the proportions, just real quick, about this stadium that they had, the Coliseum, just in 2008. And left field was 251 feet.
Okay.
And the outfield was 420. Back in 1959 or 8, whenever they played this stadium, it was 440 on the right side. So the proportions were, you better hit it left or it's not going out of the park. So that was kind of the interesting tidbit about that stadium, whatever the Los Angeles Dodgers used to play there. Moving on to the 3 spot. All right, Bandy, and I told you, open up this second segment because it's going to be a little bit longer.
Okay.
The Carrier Classic. Is this the one you were looking for, Bandy?
The Carrier Classic?
Is it? I mean, it's a pretty known anomaly in the college basketball world.
The Battle of Midway?
That was the second one, I believe.
No, you're talking about Syracuse, San Diego State, right?
I'm talking about the first one.
Oh.
And then I'll probably talk a little bit more about the other ones. But at this point in time, it all started in 2011 when Michigan State faced off against North Carolina on the USS Carl Vinson. Yes, a basketball game outside on a U.S. naval carrier on the water. Very wacky.
We need to bring this back.
It's very wacky.
So badly.
The attendance was a little over 8,000. It was one of the most patriotic showings in college basketball history. More games were played throughout the 2012s, but at the time, almost half of the games that were scheduled were canceled. After that, the world's most interesting scene in basketball was gone until 2022, whenever Gonzaga played Michigan State on the USS Abraham Lincoln, leaving MSU as the only team in college basketball history, or really anybody's history, to be 0-2 on a boat. I'm just going to throw that out there. Golly. Number 2, we're moving on. It's crazy, though. They did a game in 2022. I didn't even realize that. I didn't even think about that.
They even advertised it? I never saw that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I also didn't know too much about the Bud Light Clash at the Coliseum that happened this year, like a week before Daytona. So that was also something that I missed out on before getting super hyped for NASCAR again. Number 2, back in 2005, tennis. Okay, this is going to get weird. All right, these are going to get weird. Tennis was getting bold with numerous changes in location and playing surfaces, but this one takes the cake as the wackiest thing ever seen in the sport. 690 feet above the ground on the Burj Al Arab helipad, a tennis match was between Roger Federer and Andre Agassi. It was held 690 feet 690 feet above the ground. That's like 220 feet above sea level or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, I remember,
Meters, sorry.
I remember as a kid, like seeing that segment on SportsCenter of them covering it, like way back when it happened.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, I got like a little bit of a fear of heights, like just kind of getting a little bit of vertigo just looking at the footage from it.
You were young.
It is terrifying.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine being up there. Tom couldn't imagine being up there. Tom would explode if he was up that high. I would enjoy it, but I would make sure that I'm not diving for any balls, because I might dive and I might keep diving and I might keep diving and then I'll fall into the water over there. But either way, this was held to kind of boost popularity for the sport, and also to celebrate 50 years of the ATP Tour. And although it wasn't an official match, Federer and Agassi played for 20 minutes, and it was absolutely beautiful or insane, whichever one you want to throw at it. And number one, look, it doesn't have to be in order, because I know this one's going to ruffle some feathers. The WNBA is popular, right? It's a pretty trendy topic right now.
Yeah, it's getting
maybe not right now,
slowly but surely getting up there.
Yeah, but it was like Caitlin Clark joined the league. Angel Reese is a thing. That's a whole thing that's going on over there in the WNBA. Well, regardless, this had to be one of the strangest venues for a basketball game, because the 2004 WNBA All-Star game, was it? I don't know if it was the All-Star game. It's a question mark, so we're going to keep going with it. Was held in a music hall. Bandy, have you ever heard of this game that was held in the Radio City Music Hall in New York?
I have not.
Okay, this game put the women's U.S. Olympics team up against the stars of the WNBA. Not sure how fair that is, seeing how most of the U.S. team was, in fact, just the WNBA's best players.
I feel like there'd be a little bit of overlap in there.
Yeah, but this is the women's league. There's going to be some question marks around that. And obviously, with no surprise, the U.S. team won by like 16 points. The play on the court may have been nothing to get too excited about. But when we think wacky, everything about this is just that. Basketball on the center stage wasn't as appealing as it sounded, drawing around 6,000 fans to watch something never seen before. It was ugly and on and off the court, and wasn't a regular season game nor all-star game, but an amalgamation of bad ideas put into play by a confused league at the time.
It was young. It was a young league at the time.
It was very young. Honorable mentions: the AFL championship game was held recently in a mall.
That was cool.
It was cool, but just kind of backing up a little bit and thinking about it. Oh, we can't find a freaking venue. Let's just put it in the freaking mall. Let's just do that. Let's throw it in the mall. On top of that, cricket was played in a cave at one point. Soccer was also played in a mud hole. I don't have all the details on those ones.
Cricket was in a cave.
I made it out like it started in a cave. No, it was actually just brought to a cave at one point. Bandy, did I miss out? I didn't miss out on the one you were talking about, right?
No, I was talking about the aircraft carrier with basketball. But do you have any more honorable mentions?
I don't have any more honorable mentions. Throw one at me.
I got one to throw out at you.
Okay.
How about the time that Fenway Park was turned into a ski jump?
I do remember that. Fenway Park has been turned into a lot of things that are actually more interesting than the Boston Red Sox games.
I got the picture of this, though, like just on the monitor. No,
it's just a sore eye. It's just like
no from us like, okay, we're doing this, and no, like I would never get just for my own safety.
Yeah,
never get on that thing.
Yeah, they could have put it anywhere, but they were just like, oh, Boston Red Sox. There's an area where we can put a lot of fans at. Let's just put this big pile of snow in the middle of a baseball field. That's a wonderful, wonderful idea. Either way, we gotta hop into a break. When we come back, more sports talk here on a Wacky Wednesday. We'd love to get you guys in, so call into the show. 256-574-9777 is the number to get in. Again, when we get back, more sports talk for you on the other side here on the Morning Blitz.
It's time to get ready for game day. That means Alabama football and tailgating. Whether you're tailgating at home or at Bryant-Denny, visit Brooks & Collier for North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers like Big Green Egg, Blaze, Delta Heat, Memphis, and Traeger. Satisfy any palate with our wall of rubs and seasonings. For all your tailgating needs, visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for over 75 years. Roll Tide.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Coralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day, Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at 5. Bingo every Monday night too, starting at 7. Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Hello and welcome back to the Morning Blitz. Johnny Ram, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery.
Hey.
Had a lot of fun in that last segment, breaking down some wacky stuff. Wacky stadiums. We got into a little bit of WNBA news about when they put it up on a center stage, which I just think back to, Bandy, and I'm just like, I wonder why they don't do that. I wonder why, it's just like a musical up on the stage, but it's a basketball game. You'd wish you could be on the other side, but you can't because there's curtains and a bunch of other junk. There were actually some stands at the end of the courts up on the stage, which the other fans couldn't really see, but just a totally wacky, innovative type of way of playing basketball. And we're just thankful that it was in the WNBA. So it's just like one of those things that you think about, but you don't think about that often. Also, the Braves are going to play in the NASCAR venue, so that's going to be freaking awesome in 2025. Bandy, a lot of fun news stories are coming out, and one of them is about the Olympics and a lot of swimmers having to go and get hospitalized due to the disgusting water that they had to swim in. But I do want to throw out that this show is presented by the wonderful people over at Fleming Roofing and Restoration. The guys you need to talk to about all of your roofing needs. If you're having any roofing problems, make sure you look them up online at FlemingHSV.com to fill out your free quote today. And remember that Fleming always shows up. See, I gave you guys something else to listen to after I brought up the whole disgusting water that these Olympic swimmers... I mean, what did you expect was going to happen?
We're swimming in poop water.
They're swimming in poop water.
And then it rained.
A month,
and it got worse.
A month before, in June, like the officials were like looking at the water. They tested it, and it was like there were E. coli like levels 10 over the safe limit. I don't know exactly what that means, but I know there was E. coli inside of the actual water, which if you cannot consume, you will be sick. You could possibly pass away from that. And they spent $1.6 billion to get it cleaned up just for the Olympics. And you know what? I'm surprised not more people are, going into these hospitals and getting fixed up and all this stuff. But it's like, is this a win? Do we call this one a win? 4 years ago in Japan, ain't nobody getting sick like that. Well, that's a lie. COVID-19 was a thing, but still, nobody was getting sick from E. coli and disgusting Paris water. I mean, it was just an absolute mistake. You could have spent $1.6 billion to make a totally other lake fresh and ready for these guys to swim in, but instead, let's just throw them into water that we have our feces just floating around somewhere in there. It's just gross. It's just gross. Bandy, the U.S. Olympics men's basketball team also did some fun stuff. They said, hey, you know what? People are complaining that we're not covering these spreads, these ridiculous 30-point spreads. How about we just absolutely obliterate the next team? Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
I wish I could, but man, why did Joel Embiid have to have himself a game?
I know
that's all I'm at. Again, it's good on the Olympic team. They won about, I believe, it was 112 to 87 against Brazil in the quarterfinal. Why did Joel Embiid have to have a good game?
If you guys don't,
it's like all right, we'll see you in the semifinals. Like you did good, but I mean, again, you're coming off. We're really seeing a lot of production off the bench with this Olympic team, which I really like to see. Like Derek White had himself another good game. Bam Adebayo had himself a game as well, because then that just helps everybody else from a starting lineup with Steph, LeBron, and all of them just kind of do what they usually do. Mm-hmm. Like they don't really need to do anything different.
Yeah. It's tough for Bandy because every single time we talk basketball and Joel Embiid is in the conversation, there's a little bit of hate thrown his way. You throw a little hate Joel Embiid.
122 to 87, not 112. 122.
It was a big. Did they cover the spread? Is that something you know? Because I just was hopping into this because I
considering they won by 35. I think they covered the spread.
Okay. I don't know the amount of the wacky spreads that they're throwing at these games. They're just thinking that this USA team, which they are amazing, is just like untouchable. Like yes, it's the truth, but also they're not going to put up a 30-point spread every single game. They're going to be able to kind of relax a little bit. This isn't where it needs to be prime time. Wait until that gold medal match. That's when we might just see the most ridiculously lopsided. That was a weird tongue twister right there. Lopsided victory from this squad because they are not holding back.
Hey, Anthony Edwards, though. Actually, two Anthonys, Anthony Edwards and Anthony Davis, showed out. And you'd love to see it.
You do love to see it. Who are they playing next? Who are they going up against?
I need to take a look at the bracket.
Is it?
I believe it's on.
I know the women's team's playing Nigeria. That's actually today.
Yeah.
I haven't really followed anything that they're doing.
I imagine they're going to be playing on, let's see, maybe Thursday? God, where is the schedule at? Yep. Oh.
We got a challenge?
They get the run back against Serbia.
Oh, my gosh.
Serbia is going to be getting the run back on Thursday.
Who's left in this thing? I mean, is it in like a, you lose, you're out now? Or what point of this are we at now?
Yeah, we're in the you lose, you're out.
Okay.
So it's going to be the quarterfinals. Or no, we just had the quarterfinals. So it's going to be the semifinal stage coming up on Thursday. And you got France and Germany who've been playing very well, playing each other. And then USA and Serbia.
Okay. So France and Germany are what we have to look forward to. Serbia, don't worry about it. France and Germany. Just sounds like something from the World Wars back in the day.
I mean, Serbia, though, they got arguably,
yeah.
Man, do I just throw that out there? No, I mean, he's the best basketball player in the world right now, and Nikola Jokic.
Okay. Yeah, but you can't really.
And they got good players.
Yeah, the last time we saw these two teams go up against each other, it wasn't too competitive. If you only got one guy named Nikola Jokic, it doesn't mean your team is going to win. I know that there's a lot more talent, but I'm really looking towards that France and Germany game. But either way, we got a guy on the hotline. Love to talk with him almost every single time. What's up, brother?
How's it going, man? How y'all doing?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. How are you today?
Just burning up. Yeah.
I can understand that. I'm sweating. Yeah, profusely.
It's you talking about the weird places for sporting events.
Yeah.
And I don't know how y'all were going to take this as a sporting event, but the one that I will always remember is WWF Shotgun Saturday Night in the subways of New York.
Oh, geez. So I'm not a huge guy when it comes to the wrestling scene, but Bandy's a little bit bigger on that. Bandy, did you even know about this?
I didn't know. Wait, so you're telling me they had a WWF event just in the New York subways?
Yes, and the funniest part of it is there is a clip out there of the Undertaker on an escalator fighting with, I think it's Triple H, and it was some of the best. I like just pure entertainment, but and the only reason they did it was they were making fun of WCW.
Okay.
Because WCW few years earlier held their first 2 episodes of Nitro at the Mall of America.
Okay. But I mean,
so
no, I said
it was kind of WWF's way of saying, "Hey, you dorks, we're gonna have it in a subway."
I'm not gonna lie though. Hearing just about costume men fighting in a New York subway just kind of sounds like a usual New York day to me.
Yeah. I mean, I like it. I like the idea though, because I don't know why the first thing I thought of was that 50 Cent video game where they're fighting underground like 100% of the time. That's the first thing that came to my mind whenever.
Are you talking about Def Jam?
Yeah, was it Def Jam?
Yeah, where it's like all the rappers are in a fighting game.
Yeah, that's all I think about when I think of guys fighting in the subway. But that is a really interesting one. I honestly didn't think about it. It is a sport, though. It is a sport. I would say
it is. It is. I think that to add to your and to add to the Wacky Wednesday.
Okay.
Why didn't Jim Harbaugh just wait till today? Today was Wacky Wednesday. Today would have been the appropriate day to give that speech that he gave and pretty much just sit there and say, "Hey, na boo boo, you can't do nothing to me."
I mean, it's Jim Harbaugh. Was he not wacky? And he's just like throwing out things that a lot of Americans are going to be like pissed off about. I mean, he didn't do anything.
It's like,
I wouldn't lie about that.
Well, he just walks up on the stand, just like, you know what? There's a lot of people I model my career after. Just for great Pete Carroll.
Golly. Either way, it's a whole situation in and of itself.
Well, it's probably one of the best things. I think honestly, what they should do is, I think he should be put on a 2-year NFL probation that he cannot wear his khakis.
Oh my gosh, he would leave the NFL. Do you know how much power that guy's got?
He wouldn't know what to do.
He'd be blown away. Make him wear a pair of chubbies.
Get out of there.
Guys, y'all have a good one, man.
Appreciate
Y'all get cool.
Thank you too, Jeremy.
That's not gonna happen, dude. I mean, we're sweating outside. My AC is fixed. Okay, I gotta give props to the people that work on that stuff. But my AC is fixed, so when I get home, maybe I can be cool. But right now, I might look cool, but I am hot. As somebody, I'm not even gonna finish that line. When we come back, we're finishing out this episode, this Wacky Wednesday edition of the Morning Blitz.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. The mid and upper 90s. It'll feel like it's anywhere between 100 to 104 degrees. We only drop into the low and mid 70s as we head into the overnight. Early Thursday morning, hot again. Thursday afternoon, under a mostly sunny sky, temperatures climb into the mid and upper 90s. And again, only dropping into the mid 70s as we head into the overnight. Maybe a little more cloud cover for your Friday. Maybe a rogue isolated shower across the Tennessee Valley. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Sacrilege. I'm just kidding. It's Wacky Wednesday. Anything can go on a Wacky Wednesday. Make sure you do pause that song, though. It will mess with the stream audio. I learned that just a few days ago on the Tom Abraham Show as I've continued to make minor mistakes on my job. All right? Minor mistakes on my job. When it comes to radio, though, those mistakes are a little bit bigger because they're, public. Either way, it's been a wonderful Wacky Wednesday. I hope that we can keep this trend going on these episodes where we can just have the craziest of things, maybe new guests, maybe new lists for you guys to hear and maybe even learn a little bit about and jump into the conversation as well. But on top of changing things up, because we're going into football season, things are getting a little bit more serious. We got a lot more to talk about. We'll also be getting into a lot more of the fantasy football. Bandy, I cannot wait to get my second ring in the Doghouse Fantasy League.
Yeah, just eat it up while you can.
I'm going to eat it up
while you can.
I'm going to eat it up because ain't no nepotism a part of this. Your boy's winning those fantasy football leagues because grit, determination, and a lot of time on my phone, switching up my roster, making sure it is ready for the upcoming season.
If Cooper Kupp would have been targeted half as much as Puka Nacua was last year,
come on, baby,
I would have been in the running.
Come on, you're thinking about the past. You got to look forward to the future.
That's all I can think about is the past because I haven't won one. I don't even win in fantasy with my friends.
It's not easy, all right? When everybody else gets serious with it, that's whenever it's a problem. So I'm asking all of the Doghouse Fantasy League members to go as serious as you can so we can have a very fun, very competitive year.
It's like I'll get a prospect looking good.
Injury.
Doesn't get targeted.
No.
Their team just flat out sucks that year somehow.
Yeah.
So what needs to go right for me? Apparently everything.
I will help you out. On Thursdays, I think they're going to be dedicated to a little bit of the fantasy football. Coming from a guy that's won, not one, but two Doghouse Fantasy Football Leagues.
Ooh.
And there's a lot of interesting picks this year. Do you want to have a quarterback that has succeeded in the past but may not succeed again? How about Kirk Cousins? What type of intrigue is around him going to the Atlanta Falcons?
Well, I'm gonna keep drafting Lamar Jackson every time until it doesn't work.
That's not a bad idea. That's not terrible.
And is yet to stop working.
Amari Cooper and Brandon Ayuk, which would you rather pick? That's the question we're leaving you with here on the Morning Blitz.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is